Hello, what's up everyone? Welcome back to VP Reacts and I'm Vicky.
Peter here.
Welcome to another episode of our reaction video.
Yeah.
And today you're back with I think this like story behind some songs of the Beatles. That is Baby You're a Rich Man.
Yeah, it's a song
not...
we did, huh? Yeah, for baby, you're a rich man, baby, you're a rich man, baby, you're a rich man. You have that tune in your head, huh? I remember well even the lyrics, baby, you're a rich man.
Yeah, so I think today you're back with that song, the story behind that song.
Oh, so it's the title is The Beatles Hidden Gem.
The story behind Baby You're a Rich Man. Exactly. Yeah. So let's find out with you guys. We don't know what it has stored for us, but we expect you to come along with us to the end.
And don't forget, guys, to do what? To subscribe here, as these are the vibes here each and every day. Good vibes, good music, and engage with us, guys. On our description there is a buy me coffee link. You can use the link to request a song or either suggest any of your favorite using the link, or opt to join our community, that's being Patreon and YouTube community. Choose either of them. It comes with goodies, guys. Maybe requesting for a movie if you like to watch for the first time any movie, or have a recap of a movie, guys. Do that by joining our Patreon community. Choose any tie that suits you, and we'll be enjoying this what we do here each and every day, guys, with you. So for today, let's find out the story behind Baby You're a Rich Man.
Exactly.
And let's go. Sail with us to the end.
Released on July the 7th, 1967, the Beatles' All You Need Is Love became the soundtrack to the Summer of Love. But while its universal message and simple tune caught the public's imagination around the world, it left many fans feeling underwhelmed. For many fans back then, and for many today, it's that single's B-side which has become one of the favourite Beatles recordings of that year. I'm Andrew from Parlogram, and welcome to the story of Baby You're a Rich Man.
Baby, you're a rich man too.
Organised by the underground newspaper International Times, the 14-hour Technicolor Dream was a landmark event in British psychedelic culture.
Okay.
Over the night between April the 29th and 30th, 1967, London's Alexandra Palace hosted this all-night happening, which blended music, art, theatre, poetry and avant-garde film into what promised to be a kaleidoscopic experience.
Oh,
Kaleidoscopic experience. Sorry guys for the advert. Let's keep it. We are back.
Read like a who's who of the UK psychedelic and underground scene, and included the Pink Floyd, the Pretty Things, Soft Machine and The Move. In addition to music, there were light shows and film projections, stalls selling psychedelic art, underground magazines and handmade clothing, along with appearances by beat poets and performance artists, which included Yoko Ono.
Okay.
Her famous cut piece, where a member of the audience cut the clothes off a model with a pair of scissors, attracted much attention.
Ooh.
Earlier that evening, while tripping on LSD, John, who was watching television at home with his friend John Dunbar, saw a news item about the event. Intrigued by what they saw, they decided they had to attend, so John called his driver to take them to the venue.
Okay.
While they were there, John was filmed by a BBC crew, making a documentary for the series Man Alive called What Is a Happening, which was aired on BBC Two on the 17th of May. At that time, John derived much of his inspiration from his daily routine, which mainly involved watching TV and reading newspapers.
Okay.
Two of his songs from Sgt. Pepper's, Good Morning, and A Day in the Life, being prime examples. And it was a question that many journalists were asking at that time, which inspired his next memorable composition. Inspired by the events at Alexandra Palace, John began writing a song called One of the Beautiful People.
Wow.
John's lyrics are unmistakably of the period. How does it feel to be one of the beautiful people now that you know who you are? How often have you been there? Often enough to know. And what did you see when you were there? Nothing that doesn't show. These lyrics follow a similar pattern to lines like, what do you see when you turn out the light? I can't tell you, but I know it's mine, from With a Little Help from My Friends.
Okay,
But
that's cool. What do you see when you turn the lights off? Like that's the question. Like I
Yeah.
think in your like daily life or daily routine,
Yeah.
there's that thing that before you sleep maybe you are thinking about, or you've been thinking about. So before you sleep you always have that moment, your little moment to think about something that's happening in your life, or maybe anything that you've been wanting to have answers. I think that's what I'm always thinking after I switch off the lights before I sleep. I'm always thinking like, okay, what step am I going to do tomorrow? What am I going to
By the,
to
and
do tomorrow?
that's true, because
Yeah.
some of the people find it very hard to to sleep when they have just watched maybe a horror movie
Oh,
before they go
yeah.
to sleep. So
Yeah,
your
yeah.
subconscious mind is still having that fear of what you saw.
Yeah,
So by
exactly.
switching off the lights, you are on that room of maybe meditation, like what will happen on this dark room. So let's continue.
Yeah. I think he was so clever on that.
Yeah, the
the
lyrics.
song's title was inspired by Paul's new hip phrase, "Baby, you're a rich man,"
Oh.
which, although not named
So that was Paul's. What does it say?
Just
Like,
take it back a little. The lyrics familiar between pattern, but the song
was
title
inspired by Paul's new hip phrase, "Baby, you're a rich man."
Yeah, so the title was inspired by Paul's.
Yeah, but I think that's the song that he was writing before. He was not yet into writing this song, "Baby, You're a Rich Man."
Okay.
So the other song that he was writing.
Oh,
Yeah, I think so.
let's continue.
by Paul's new hip phrase, "Baby, you're a rich man," which, although not named directly, clearly refers to Brian Epstein. They wrote the song together quickly at Paul's house in Cavendish Avenue and were keen to record it at Abbey Road as soon as possible. However, although they were by this point the kings of EMI and were allowed unlimited studio time, that privilege didn't extend to kicking out artists who were already booked or working in the studios. Therefore, the Beatles had to make alternate plans to record their new composition.
Okay.
Wow.
Olympic Sound Studios in Barnes, southwest London, was everything EMI Studios at Abbey Road was not. Olympic was one of the most modern and best equipped studios in the country. It had large control rooms with luxurious sofas, comfortable chairs and contemporary decor, all illuminated by tasteful low lighting. It was certainly a welcome break from the austere, almost sterile atmosphere of Abbey Road. Also, Olympic staff were a cool bunch and certainly more easygoing when it came to drugs. In fact, the control room staff would often share a joint with the artists, something which would have led to immediate dismissal at Abbey Road. Although Abbey Road had superb custom-built equipment, it was still only a 4-track studio. Olympic, on the other hand, had 8-track recorders and a great-sounding
8?
mixing console, which was capable of passing much lower frequencies, the results of which we'll discuss a little later on.
Okay.
As he was now an independent producer, George Martin was permitted to produce. However, since Jeff Emmerich was an EMI employee, he wasn't allowed to engineer the session, so Olympic's own Keith Grant took charge. The session at Olympic took place on Thursday the 11th of May between 9 p.m. and 3 a.m. 12 takes of the backing track were recorded, with John on piano, Paul on bass, George on electric guitar, and Ringo on drums.
Of course.
Take 12 was deemed the best rhythm track, onto which John sang lead vocals, where he was backed by Paul and George.
Yeah.
Overdubs were then recorded of Paul playing another piano, Ringo on tambourine, then maracas, George and Ringo adding hand claps, and John double-tracking his lead vocals in spots. The second engineer on the session, future Jimi Hendrix producer Eddie Kramer, helped out by adding vibraphone. Another attendee at the session was Mick Jagger, who is believed joined in the sing-along choruses of the song. Although this is not confirmed, his name was added to the tape box.
Okay.
The Beatles were always searching for new sounds, and they discovered one at Olympic. The clavioline was a French invention, which was essentially the predecessor of modern synthesizers, and was first heard on a pop record in 1962 on the Tornadoes hit Telstar.
Why did you cancel your Midjourney subscription?
Again?
I found this hidden AI that does everything I want for a one-time cost.
It consisted of 2 units, a monophonic keyboard with a built-in tube sound generator, and a separate amplifier and speaker box, where the volume was controlled by a knee-operated lever. John played the clavioline on the session, and legend has it that he achieved the quick-fire run of notes by rolling an orange up and down and across the keyboard. Another hallmark of this recording is the sound of Paul's bass. Due to the strict limitations EMI put on the frequencies which were allowed through on their recordings at Abbey Road, bass was, despite Paul and Jeff Emmerich's best efforts, never as strong as they wanted it to be on their records. However, as I said earlier, there were no such limitations on Olympics equipment, and it captured the sound of Paul's Rickenbacker bass on Baby You're a Rich Man better than anything they recorded at Abbey Road.
Oh.
Listen to this track at volume on some decent speakers, and the bass frequencies will rattle your windows.
By the way, they're so cool.
At 3 a.m, after 2 tape reductions and overdubs, the one and only mono mix of Baby You're a Rich Man was done, making it the only Beatles parlophone single to be entirely recorded and mixed outside Abbey Road.
Okay.
Walter, look, there. Ice water.
Pal, I'm fresh out, but I do have some salted peanuts.
None for me, thanks. Once I start, I can't stop.
Well, right now, let's stop for this next message.
Okay.
Creating content and running a business online isn't easy, and maybe the thought of designing your own website fills you with fear. But that's where this video sponsor Squarespace comes in. By simply answering some questions about yourself and your business, Squarespace's incredible blueprint.
Sorry, I think this is just his own advertisement.
Yeah, it's beside the story.
It's not part of the story. I was trying to connect and I'm like, okay.
Squarespace is what I think he said is the one that sponsored the video.
Oh yeah, I understand.
AI design system will help you build a stylish, professional-looking website in no time at all. As well as being optimized for every device, your site will automatically include the latest SEO tools, helping you to grow your business to the level you want. Then measure your success with Squarespace's powerful integrated analytics tools. So whether you're running a store, creating video courses, selling memberships, or blogging, Squarespace can help you make it a success. To find out how Squarespace can work for you, head on over to squarespace.com for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/parlogram to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain.
We are back.
1967.
Now that you've found a new key, what are you going to play? Interesting words there, aren't they? Baby You're a Rich Man, the new single, the B-side of it, by the Beatles, of course, and don't forget what we said. The other side coming up in about, I think about 10, 15 minutes. On this show, of the Beatles' new single, All You Need Is Love.
The Beatles performed All You Need Is Love live to an estimated worldwide audience of 500 million people as part of a television program called Our World, which for the first time linked 5 continents together via satellite.
Wow.
The vocals, Paul's bass, lead guitar solo and Ringo's drums were live. Although to cover themselves, George Martin had the Beatles play over take 10 of their pre-recorded backing track, which they had recorded the previous Friday.
Okay.
48 hours later, the single's master tapes were heading across the Atlantic to Capitol, and within 4 days of the broadcast, EMI had demo copies ready for distribution to the press.
Yeah.
These used the new green and white label design, which replaced the iconic red and white A label, which had been employed since the late 1950s. All You Need Is Love, backed with Baby You're a Rich Man, was released in the UK and US simultaneously on July the 7th, 1967.
So the song was
Initial
released
UK
in
copies on Parlophone came without the recorded during live world television transmission text, which was added to all subsequent copies. Although it shot to the top of the charts the following week, reviewers and some fans, like me, were more impressed with the B-side. You know all about this disc, with its initial plug to half the world, don't you? It is, of course, very simple in construction, so that all foreign countries could understand it. It harks back to the early Beatles, with added cellos and brass as the only concession to their present progressive style. A very pretty sing-along tune, soloed by John, with Paul and George chanting Love over and over behind him. Goes on a minute too long. The orchestra goes berserk while the boys chant the title phrase 42 times. The strings even offer the theme from Greensleeves. Only the Beatles could make a classic of such uncomplicated material.
Okay.
And many fans will probably welcome this return to less complex stuff,
Yeah.
even though one can almost hear the group's tongues firmly planted in their cheeks. Flip, back to modern style for Baby You're a Rich Man, with oriental instrumentation and an unusual shuffle beat emphasized by hand claps. John solos again, partly in falsetto. The whole effect is startling and packed with interest from the word go.
Yeah.
All You Need Is Love went on to top the Billboard Hot 100.
Wow.
However, Baby You're a Rich Man managed to peak at number 34 by itself.
Oh.
Interestingly, Capitol mistakenly gave Baby You're a Rich Man a matrix number 1 digit lower than All You Need Is Love, which would normally indicate the A-side of a single. This mix-up resulted in Baby You're a Rich Man being printed on the full Apple side of the single, when it was eventually released on Apple Records in the 1970s.
Okay.
Baby You're a Rich Man was initially intended as the first song to be recorded for the Yellow Submarine film. Under the agreement with the film's production company King Features, the Beatles would provide at least 3 new recordings for exclusive use in the soundtrack. With that in mind, George Martin made a copy of the Monomaster in the control room of EMI Studio 2 on August the 22nd, 1968, which was then sent to King Features for use in the film.
Yeah.
However, unlike All You Need Is Love, Baby You're a Rich Man was left off the Yellow Submarine soundtrack album. The song appears only very briefly in the standard version of the Yellow Submarine film. The original American cut includes a slightly longer scene where a little more of the song is heard.
Why colour, Telly? Like crystal?
Hey, the decanting.
And
How does it feel to be one of the few?
Wow, I think the other version is great.
Now that
This
you
version.
know who you are,
Okay.
what do you want to be?
Wow.
Beatles to battle!
Baby You're a Rich Man also appeared on Capitol's Magical Mystery Tour album in November 1967.
Okay.
But as no stereo mix existed at the time, and none was requested, Capitol created their own fake stereo mix. However, in 1971, when EMI's German subsidiary Electrola discovered that Capitol's fake stereo mixes had been used on their version of the album, they requested new, true stereo mixes from EMI. So George Martin and Jeff Emerick were tasked with creating that, which they did at George Martin's Air Studios on October the 22nd, 1971,
4
which for
years
some
later.
reason ended up being 9 seconds shorter than the mono mix.
Okay.
Not all toothpastes are.
Sorry. Oh, that's a very deep, interesting story behind the Baby You're a Rich Man.
Exactly. I'm trying to learn a lot concerning the records.
Yeah.
I don't know, EMI,
Along with new,
sorry.
true
the Apple
Oh, yeah.
records and all
wait.
that. Like, it's quite new to us, but at least we're trying to get
And I've
something.
seen like Baby You're a Rich Man has been mentioned on 2 of their release albums.
Yeah.
The first one it was mentioned and then dropped for the what's the name? I'm just forgot. Then the second one where the stereo mixer was the fake one, and the EMI now requested to release their official.
Oh, they gave the tax to
the official mix, huh?
Yeah.
Which I say that it was 9 seconds shorter.
Yeah.
So
But
let's
the
continue.
mix was they have said it was nine 9 seconds.
Short, and it was done in 1971. That's 4 years later.
But the original one was released in 1967.
The 7th of July, but it was recorded on May.
Exactly.
Yeah.
At least you're getting something.
Stereo remixes of Capitol's other simulated stereo mixes was used on this fabulous sounding German pressing, which I'm sure if you're a regular viewer of the channel, you'll know all about by now. It was first released in true stereo in the UK in 1973 on the cassette and 8-track version of the album. But when the album finally gained a UK vinyl release in 1976, it included the US fake stereo mixes. Its first appearance on vinyl in true stereo in the UK came in 1981 on the bonus EP included in the EP's collection box set. It wasn't heard in the States until the release of the CD album in 1987.
Okay.
In September 1999, a more adventurous stereo mix of the song was produced by a team at Abbey Road, led by Peter Cobbin, for the Yellow Submarine song track. This great mix kicks off the fabulous sounding side 2 of this underappreciated album, which is well worth revisiting. The song was introduced to a new generation in 2010, when it was used beneath the final scene for the film The Social Network, and has since grown in reputation over the years to become one of mine and many other Beatles fans' favourite songs from this period.
Okay.
Baby You're a Rich Man may not be as complex or as clever as anything on Sgt. Pepper's, but it does show how much fun the Beatles were having in the studio at that time.
Exactly.
In fact, just 6 days after recording Baby You're a Rich Man on May the 17th, they recorded You Know My Name, Look Up the Number, which Paul McCartney has often said was his favourite Beatles song because it was so much fun to record.
But to add on that, I think Beatles always had their fun when they're recording.
Exactly, yeah.
If you see their songs, they are quite simple, like memorable, like you just feel like, okay, this was just fun.
Yeah.
And the way they just, you could see even the way they relate each other, maybe when performing and all that, you could tell that they were always more of friends, even when it comes to maybe their usual recordings and all that, their musical journey and all that. You could tell how friends they were.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And turning to Paul McCartney 20 favorite Beatles song, the number one being You Know My Name, Look Up the Number. Have we did that song really?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so. But the Strawberry Fields, Hey Jude, Blackbird, no. And Elena Ricky,
Elena
Across
Rigby.
Yeah, Across the Universe. Then there is Julia.
I think most of them we've not done them.
Yeah, and
because I just remember Strawberry Fields Forever, Hey Jude.
That's the only two we have.
Yeah, the rest I think we have not yet done them. So kindly, if you have any links to them, feel free to share with us so that you can be able to at least get to experience.
Yeah, exactly. What's a very rich conversation? Let's continue.
But what about you? Do let me and everyone else know what you think about this song in the comments. Also, why not take a look at one of our videos about Magical Mystery Tour? This one, for example. But that's all for this time, so I'll say bye for now, and thanks for watching.
Thank you. Oh, that was really great.
Yeah, so I've seen how the Baby You're a Rich Man transformed from the stereos mixes back then to then where we found it on a magical tour. You know, remember that's where we have
we've tackled the song.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, okay, I think I would say that way back before you could even release the actual song to the people or people to get to watch
it. Goes through a lot.
Yeah, it was really going through a lot, and also it was taking years, maybe
time
like
authentication or authentication where you should be given authority by your record label.
To just to see that this song is actually good to be released. Like it was really taking a lot.
And considering that the Baby You're a Rich Man song was recorded off the EMI studios, like they found where the EMI was a bit congested or in use, and then they went to the other studio when they recorded it, meaning they were really doing what they loved with passion, and the efforts, like even though where you are supposed to do your recordings is not available, they did more efforts on going
they
for,
went to an extra mile.
to an extra mile to do on another studio.
But the way they compare the second studio to the original, to
Their record,
EMI, they could tell that maybe the other studio was way bigger than the first one.
Yeah, exactly. And say even the material, the chairs were
the
comfortable.
soundtracks and all that. Even if it was their sound, their equipments were able to capture even the lowest sound, the waves and all that. It was really great.
And also allowing the Paul McCartney's bass guitar.
Oh, to be really strong on the bass. He really specified on the bass guitar and also on some part of the piano. They
they used the violin or what? Huh?
Piano.
The violin. But guys, thank you, Dan, for this good and enriching information for the Baby You're a Rich Man. Huh? I think for now we have a very good background story of it on how it came till 2010, where now it was released to the new generations. I included, and you?
Yeah, I think for now, most of their songs and the songs that were released in the 60s, 70s, 50s and all that, we are always getting the remastered version of it.
Exactly.
Yeah, now compared to the original ones they used to perform and all that. I think for us now we are getting most of them a remastered version of it.
Yeah, and back up before you finish, back to your topic, like you are saying, I just want to emphasize on it, how back then it was difficult for you to release a song compared to now. You can easily take, even there is apps on the phone for you to record. You can record using borrowed beats created already, then you just post it on YouTube directly and people watch you.
By the way, now it's today at least most of the artists and most of our artists are now having a very easier time in terms of growing, most especially maybe upcoming artists and all that. Because at least we have so many platforms, we have so many equipments, people can afford that. You don't have even to have a record label to maybe push yourself, or you don't have to be under a label to push yourself. Like you can just push your own music and maybe just become a big artist
by the bigger brand. And lastly, I just want to pose a question on I think you might be also on my side. How were they coming out with their stereo mixes? Have you heard that on the conversation? Stereo mixes.
But you've heard about maybe most of them were like you could tell, like I think that time many fake maybe things were coming. Maybe you produced a song, but what is released to the press is sometimes can be fake before you find the original one. So I don't know how they were really coming up with but
and how, guys, were you getting the mixes? Like, is it on a disc tape, like, or how are you buying it?
I think it's most of them in discs and CDs.
The CD came, there's this big thing. I've seen the round one. Like I can show you here one of it. This one. Let's use this one.
Are you a low-skilled worker looking?
That was really messing us up. But we are sorry we are here. Now I was talking about this one. You see, these are round shaped. Was it, guys, what do you call? Because for us here we might call it maybe a tape.
But I've seen a matrix number. Or what is a matrix number?
So guys, tell us, how are you coming with that, or how are you accessing for the new release song on those? Because I know you know that machine where it's like this, a hook, then you press it, then it starts to
I can see that. I think that those were the equipments they were using, like maybe they were not having TVs, radios. So you were using that equipment to play any song you want and all that.
So guys, how are you accessing it?
Because we've been seeing them in movies.
In
most of the movies,
even in the Beatles songs, you see. Them using it. So guys, it's been a very good conversation. Hope you enjoyed and you learned something, and help us also to explore more by answering what we have posted, and also request or suggest more for us.
Otherwise, guys, thank you for watching with us. Till next time, maybe what we have not discussed before, or maybe what we don't know, kindly clarify with us on our comments. We'll really appreciate that. Otherwise, see you on our next video.
We are out.
Bye bye.